Welcome, ghouls, demons, and fellow weird ones. And here we are continuing my weird tale series where I am going through all the books that I've self-published so far and talking about the process behind them, the inspiration, and a little bit about the story. So enjoy. We're gonna start with we started with My Dawning Decennium, and now we're going into A Fiffer's Fairy Tale. All right. So, Fiffer's fairy tale, it's a fairy tale about a fairy named Fiffers. So, Fiffers is Felicity. So, Felicity is my first niece. She is firstborn daughter, granddaughter, niece, all of it. She was the first in my little family unit. My older brother, his first kid, again, first grandkid, first great grandkid in this realm, this aspect of my family tree. So she has a huge purpose, and she's a little Aquarian baby. Aquarius, just like her Tata. That is what they call me. There's a whole story behind why everyone calls me Tata in my family. And if people really care, I can do a video breakdown of that. And to not go down too many tangents and rabbit holes, let's focus on the story. Note to self. Anyway, so I decided, after, I've been making candles for a while. I started my business. I've been posting some lunar memoirs, some like blog posts. I've been sharing my poetry. And I decided, this was in 23, I quit my job. I'm doing all these things. And I was really pursuing more creative avenues. Not just my candles, but candles were definitely a foundation of a lot of things. And so I was going through that, and I had met a couple people that inspired me for like the book process, but I needed an illustrator. And so I had this story written. I can't quite remember the moment that I was like, I'm gonna fucking write a story for my niece. And I was like, well, I can't write one for Felicity. I have to write one for Elena and Sammy and Isabella. I can't write one for one niece. They all get one, because I firmly believe in the quality of it all. I've never wanted any of my nieces or nephews to feel any favoritism from me. And if they do, that would be due to some of the difficulties of our family dynamics. But these stories kind of blossomed from some of the issues I was having with my family. I wanted the kids, especially my nieces. I have a stronger relationship to my nieces than my nephews, mainly because of when they were born. Like Felicity, she was born in February of 2015. 2016. And I was, I spent a whole year helping. Like, I babysat. I tried to be really present and assist my sister-in-law. She was going back to school. My brother was working really hard. They had a lot of um just difficult moments in their life where they moved back in with my mom, and like our we had a full house. And so I was working multiple jobs and getting myself through my OT school, and life was crazy for me, but I really wanted to make sure that, especially my sister-in-law, I love my sister-in-law, Allie, very much. She's a Capricorn, and I really wanted her to feel support, So if I was awake early because I was getting ready for whatever the fuck I was doing, and I heard Felicity, I would go change her diaper. I'd go check on her. I'd make sure she was okay. I wanted to make sure my sister-in-law could get sleep and all of the above. Felicity and I have had a really, really deep bond that transcends. It's so spiritual, and it could just be the Aquarian thing. But I've really bonded with her. And so with some of the changes and stuff going on in my family dynamics, I wanted something that my family couldn't take away from me, or couldn't take away from the kids. I was bearing my soul to the girls, but I also really wanted them to have something for themselves. That's really important to note, that as I mention all these things that's about me, but I wanted them to have a soul message that they could carry with them for the rest of their lives. You know, I was diving into the birth charts. The more I was learning about astrology and all these other like inspirations that came through, and this like realization, like, you know, I used to write stories for people. I could do that for my nieces. And I asked my sister-in-law if I could write them a book, each of them a book. And I asked, the girls were a huge participant in their stories. So, and I asked Felicity if she wanted me, if she would be okay with me writing a story about her and her being the main character. She was geeked. She was so excited. She loves to read. She reminds me a lot of me in a lot of ways, the Aquarian nature, but she loves to read. She's deeply insightful, so emotionally intelligent. I really feel for her. She's a beautiful, beautiful soul, and she really has a piece of my heart, in a really cool way. So I called her and I asked her, I was like, okay, what character do you want to be? And oh my gosh, this girl, she told me exactly what she wanted. She knew what she wanted and she spelt it out for me because I didn't have to ask too many questions. She's like, I want to be a fairy and I want the lesson of the book to be to never give up. And I want there to be a black rose. And like she gave me all of these details. And I was like, all right, Chica, you got it. You got it. I think I nailed it. I don't want to ruin the story, but in a summary, it is about a fairy, a garden fairy. She very specifically wanted to be a garden fairy. Encanto was a huge movie at the time for her. So Isabella, which she was in an influence in her helping name her sister Isabella, but she really loved her. Felicity is very girly and prissy in a beautiful way. I don't mean that insultingly. Like princessy is probably a nicer way. But little Miss Priss, and she's just deeply into flowers and very feminine. She's a Cancer moon, and I can definitely see a lot of that deep, nurturing femininity within her that is deeply powerful. And so I hope I captured that in her story. There's a lot of astrological um insights that came into developing their story. Sat with their birth chart, I meditated on it deeply, and I took their input to heart. Like the details she gave me weren't details that I could dismiss. And I feel like if I dismissed them, that would have been painful for her to process, especially as an adult in the future of like, well, hey, I told you I wanted this and you didn't do it. You did what you wanted to do, but isn't this story for me? And I was feeling, I guess in a way, like my inner child was like, well, what would I want as an Aquarius like kid? Um, I wanted to put myself in their shoes and connect to her soul, her spirit, and create her something just absolutely personal and unique to her. I wanted her to feel special and embrace her individuality. I really wanted to nurture all of that. And for her to tell me she wanted the message to be to not give up on yourself no matter what. I added some other things as far as the lesson, you know, authenticity, being the key to dreams. But like the key to dreams is your authentic approach to never giving up on yourself. And so I really wanted to incorporate what she provided, with like a mature depth. That is the whole point of me writing it, right? Like I wanted to co-create this with her for her. I didn't want to lose my individuality and I didn't want her to lose hers. And this story, it was super easy. Like I said, she spelled it out for me and I knew exactly like what to do. It was beautiful. So she's a fairy and I love that she had like her colors were black and pink. I thought that was like really fun. Purples too, but really wanted black and pink. The fact that she wanted a black rose was so significant to me. For those who know me, understand why that's significant, but like a black rose is something deeply, uh, it was a symbol. It was a significant symbol, an inspiring symbol to me when I was a child, and it was looked down upon. It was weird. It was creepy. Like, why would you want a black rose? Do you know what black roses symbolize? Look, I don't. I'm so happy that she's not dealing with this, but she didn't get she has not received the same ridicule, to my knowledge. She has not received the same ridicule for the black rose that I received. And I think that that's a huge omen or signifying moment in our family, that like that was a curse, a cycle, a behavior that is not being repeated. And I'm not too sure. I know my sister-in-law, I know Alejandra, Miss Allie. I know she's done a really beautiful, powerful job at maintaining those boundaries, and I guess teaching my brother, because my brother, my Felicity's father, he was one of my biggest bullies growing up, and he was like, I have had a lot of fear that I've tried not to project. I'm not perfect at it, but I've definitely projected a lot of my own fear of how Matthew would receive his daughters, but especially Felicity, especially as the Aquarius who loves black roses. So it was beautiful to me that she asked for that and I was able to give it to her and for it to be received very well. Um, that's a huge, that's a monumental moment for my family tree and the carrying on of the gene pool in that sense. So there's a part of me that's sad that it wasn't there for me, but I'm glad that the groundwork that I went through allowed her to be protected and received. And I've definitely had that protection bubble over her. And I'm not saying she may run into obstacles of her own, but again, the whole point of the story is to have that anchor into that sense of self. She's gonna be 9 in a couple weeks now. February is around the corner, so she's about the same age as me when things really started to go dark and get difficult. The more I tried to fight to express myself and all of these things. So I really wanted this to be an anchor for her to always come back to herself. And so yeah, so that's huge. So I don't know how well it's being seen when I show it this way, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So that's like the cover. And again, you can subscribe to my blog and get access to all of the things that I've self-published. It's a PDF of it, or you can purchase individual PDFs for all the individual stories and anthologies and everything that I do until I find better physical copies. I printed all the girls a hard copy of their book, and oh my gosh, if people want a hard copy of these things from Canva, look it up. It's a lot. But what I want to read the dedication um that I wrote for her story. Let me scroll to it. But yes, a Fiffer's fairy tale. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I want to say about this book? I don't think there's much more about the inspiration. This one was so smooth, and I was sat on this story for her story I wrote in 23, and it didn't get designed until November of 2024 when I released all of these. I believe it was was it a Sagittarius? No. Was it Scorpio? I can't remember. I have to look back at the moon phase. I know it was significant as far as like the moon, but it's in my notes, but it's not in my brain right now. But yeah, I waited for an illustrator. I went through 5 different illustrators and people who just would not commit to my projects, and that's when I went on Canva. I was like, I'm just gonna do the graphic design and like I'm gonna figure out drawing and painting and all this other stuff. Another more creative projects for me to dive into eventually. But I got to a point where I was really sick of waiting for other people. It was like, okay, so you're not taking me seriously enough to like listen to my commission. Like I was gonna pay you, I was gonna give you like a contract deal with like it, because I believe my books are gonna, they're gonna be $1 million copy books, like best sellers across the globe. I firmly believe in my dream as a writer and my talent, my skill as a writer, and the impact of my words. And so when I was asking these illustrators to, like these artists that I knew, friends that I was giving an opportunity for, and I was like, you tell me what works for you. I will either pay you outright or we can have a contract and you get a percentage of every sale, because I firmly believe that, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for me, and I wanted to bring so many people along with me. The harsh lesson that I learned is that I can't wait for people. You can't bring everyone with me, and sometimes you just have to take the reins and do it for yourself, and that's what Canva allowed me to do. I know a lot of people feel what they feel for a variety of AI reasons, and I mean, that's a whole other video that I will talk about. If it's already posted by the time anyone sees this, I do have plans on having a Moon Juice episode where I break down my personal insights and perspective to AI. But if I want to express any gratitude to Canva, it's the fact that this gave me an ability to do things for myself, that I didn't have to wait on anybody. I didn't have to limit my potential because I was waiting on others, because honestly, genuinely, I don't have the quality skill set of illustration that I would want for my books, and even the graphic designs don't have the vision that I have. So I do hope one day to have the completed version of these stories with the illustrations of my dreamiest vision, and maybe it'll be by my hand. Maybe someone from my past will come back and actually take me seriously and commit to me. The bridge might be burned by then. The opportunity may be lost by then. Maybe it's someone maybe that day didn't work out because I'm waiting for this other artist that's in soul alignment. I'm open to all the possibilities, but I'm also not allowing anything or anyone to stop me from putting my work out there. My art is my words and the graphic design that I put together. I did not draw any of the fairies. I did not draw anything in here. They're all graphics from Canva that I put together. I edited them. All of the little things that you can do online. And so I am grateful for that. But I guess I apologize if it offends anybody. Um, but I wasn't going to stay small, and I wasn't going to limit myself just because of that purpose. Sometimes I feel like there's trade-offs and give and take to fucking everything, and my trade-off was using this technological tool, and I hope it doesn't bite me in the ass. I feel like everyone feels that way with technology. It's like, I'm gonna use this, and hopefully it doesn't destroy humanity. So anyway, that is my TED Talk about that. But anyway, to get into the dedication, A Fiffer's Fairy Tale by Sarah Odell. I would like to dedicate this poetic fairy tale to my beloved niece Felicity, also known as Fiffers. May you continue to fight for your dreams and all you desire. Never give up, and always remember you always have all the tools you need to succeed within. Of Tata. And I feel like that's such a deeply Aquarian message. This is not just for Felicity and her specific birth chart. I feel like this goes for any air sign, any Aquarius, but also any individual being. That is the powerful essence of Aquarius energy, is the individual. You have everything you need within you. I believe that's the whole point of Aquarians being the way that they are, being hyper independent and stubborn and having to be as unique as possible, and all these other stereotypes that people have with Aquarius. I think it's to teach and show and express to everyone that the kingdom of heaven is within you. The power is within you. You have everything that you need. And my whole tangent before is proof of that. I have had all the tools that I need before me. $15 a month to pay for Canva, to put in the effort to design it. Is it perfect? Is it exactly how I want it? No, but is it a starting point? Yes. At least I got started. At least I'm doing it. And I know eventually I will reach this utopia standard of perfection, of artistry that I really want from these stories. But in the meantime, this is more than good enough, and it's still beautiful. I've learned that the words by themselves are beautiful, and I don't need all of this other fancy packaging to sell it. The words themselves sell themselves enough, but I do love having it in a pretty little storybook, and I want to continue to expand on that. So a lot of gratitude for where I've started, and also understanding that I can simply release things on a Word document, PDF, blah, blah, blah. But I can also do a PDF that's a little bit more decorated through Canva. Because I used to do that with my stories on PowerPoint. I would copy and paste some of my stories to PowerPoint, or Word was always very annoying, but I would sit in my computer room, with all of these old Microsoft, programs. And that's how I started. And it's kind of funny how I'm starting now, but I've advanced a little bit with some color and some graphics. And eventually I will have the illustration of my dreams. Taking some of my own advice, I will always remember that I have all the tools I need within me to succeed. Things that I wish I was told as a child, extending to the children that I love more than anything in this world. And I hope that it's a message that carries on to anyone and everyone who needs to hear it. So, Felicity, I absolutely love you with everything that I have. And if you ever watch this one day, however old you are when you watch it, I hope I hope that this impacted you in a positive, loving, and healing way. I don't want any of this to bring you any pain or suffering. And if it does, I hope that you're able to see the challenge within it and overcome it in a beautiful way. So, yeah, with that, I think that I'm done sharing about a Fiffer student. So, anyone who has any questions or concerns or whatever about the story, let me know. I would love to continue to elaborate on it. If you want to, again, if you want physical copies of any of these books, you could reach out. And I can do a Canva order. Because I don't know I don't know my timeline on getting other physical books. So that's just where things are in real time. And I'm looking forward to seeing how perfectly this ages. Fucking commanding it. So, thank you very much. It's so weird. I don't know how to end things that aren't moon juice related. Well, thanks for yapping.